Thanks and welcome to the 6:15 with me, Kijang Henry, at Timbe, our headlines. 6 suspects have been caught in possession of 2 kilograms of crack.
The alleged 6, amongst them.
And classroom violence on the rise with students attacking mates. The recent case is in Jebem, Banjul, where viral videos show a student attacking a classmate. And the government has announced the putting in place of a National Solidarity Fund to cater for refugees and internally displaced persons. Top stories. You can check us with us on our respective platforms on Canal International. I'll begin from your own, from the West region, where violence in Cameroon schools has escalated with a disturbing new incident precisely in Jebem, Banjul. A viral video on social media shows a student attacking his 18-year-old classmate at Government Bilingual High School, Jebem. This new development, according to Morindi, has raised concerns about safety on campus.
The alarming rise in violence in schools has become a growing concern in Cameroon, with the recent incidents highlighting the severity of the issue. A disturbing video which has gone viral on social media shows a student brutally assaulting his classmates over a dispute, raising questions about student safety and the influence of social media in amplifying such behaviors. The video filmed at Lycée Bileng in Jembem in Banjul shows Victor attacking 90-year-old Menjuonko Cliquez Lovely, a fellow student. The altercation reportedly stems from a disagreement over a phone. As the brutal assault unfolded, other students passively filmed the event rather than intervening. The victim, Mejogo Lagris Lovely, was rushed to the Njembem District Medical Center, where she is now receiving urgent care for her injuries. Her mother, Fonka Harriet, is calling for justice, demanding accountability for the violent attack on her daughter. Meanwhile, the suspect was briefly detained by local authorities before being released on bail. Many are questioning the leniency of the authorities and the role of social media in spreading such distressing content. Despite the school administration's promise to take action, the growing concern remains about safety of students and the escalating violence in schools across Cameroon.
And 6 persons have been arrested in Yaoundé in possession of 2 kilograms of crack cocaine. The psychotropic drug was smuggled into Cameroon from France through luggages. Beatrice Ngamo.
The alleged 6, amongst them a lady, are members of 2 different groups dealing in crack cocaine. They were caught in possession of about 2 kilograms.
There are some chemical materials that have been added and make it more dangerous, more stronger and more expensive.
This new cocaine cannot be found here in Cameroon, and as such they enter into deal with Cameroonian nationals based in France, Brazil and USA for the operation.
They smuggle this group to Cameroon by inserting these things in their luggages to escape the border controls at the airport. Once these products are in Cameroon, they are being sold in the well-renowned nightclubs. Drugs are sold in a very expensive price. A gram of these drugs is worth 15 to 20,000 francs.
Relaxation sites visited frequently, mostly, and consumed by youths, illegal, refined, and expensive drugs that produce an intense, high negative impact and can cause stroke, heart attack, and even death. The sales and consumption of drugs is forbidden in Cameroon. And so, after investigation is over, the Criminal Research Service of the National Gendarmerie in Yaoundé, the 6 are to appear before the State Council to answer for their crime.
And Cameroon has announced the putting in place of a national solidarity fund to cater for refugees and internally displaced persons. This announcement was made today by the Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Gilly, while launching the 2025 National Solidarity and Entrepreneurship Week. Hyacinth has the details.
The 8th edition of the National Solidarity and Entrepreneurship Week is peculiar with the announcement of the National Solidarity Fund to cater for the over 1 million internally displaced persons and thousands of refugees in Cameroon.
I was pleased to see that the fund is aiming to be inclusive, the fund is aiming to be equitable, and the fund is also aiming to be durable. Now, when you look at the inclusivity of the fund, obviously vulnerable populations, including the displaced ones, are all among the targets.
The UN agencies pledge to continue collaborating with the government to ameliorate the conditions of the vulnerable populations facing numerous challenges.
In Cameroon, you have more than 450,000 refugees and more than 1 million displaced persons. And UNHCR comes to support the government to know who are those persons, to register them, to identify which kind of problems they have. They have problems of documentation, they have problems of education, health, socio-economic inclusion. So we come to assist the government to help all those people to have a better life.
Launching the week-long activities this January 22nd in Yaoundé, the Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Gilly, urged the different stakeholders to work towards inclusion and empowerment of the needy.
Thanks very much, Hyacinth, with that report. But then let's move to this story. What is behind the iconic junctions in Cameroon? We know that recently, or some years back, some of the major junctions that carry funny names have been changed or were changed by the authorities of the region. And so Ambo Gladys tried to visit some of these areas to find out if these names have actually been changed. Details.
Carrefour Trois is a bustling junction in the Daido neighborhood in Douala, Cameroon. Before the 1980s, it was known as Carrefour Mbounya and was home to a thriving market. The area's name changed following a tragic incident in which 3 children from the same family were killed by a speedy vehicle.
On a appelé Trois parce que il fut un temps, la voiture a cogné 3 enfants en face de l'étage là.
But this is not the only area in Douala named after an incident. In the Bepanda neighborhood, an elderly resident who has lived there since 1980 recounts how Bepanda Tone got its name. According to him, the area was named after a woman was struck and killed by lightning in 1979.
Il y avait une femme qui était le tonnerre l'ont tuée. Donc c'est pourquoi on appelle cela tonnerre.
Nearby, Bepanda Doublebal takes its name from another tragic incident. Here, it is said a man was fatally shot twice, a story that has lingered in the minds of residents for decades.
On a tué une femme avec le fusil double.
Further east, at the entrance to Douala, several well-known quarters also bear unique names. Amongst them is non-glacé, meaning not cold, a name rooted in the past when local drinking spots rarely served cold beverages to customers.
Back then, it was difficult to find a cold drink here, so people simply called it non-glacé.
Another notable junction is Carrefour Elf, originally named after a fuel station called Elf Axelou.
On appelle ici la Elf parce qu'il y avait une station avant, c'était la station Elf.
Perhaps the most intriguing name of all is Carrefour J'ai raté ma vie, meaning I have wasted my life. This notorious spot was once known as a gathering place for commercial sex workers seeking clients in the evenings. Although the area has changed over the years, the name persists, a reflection of his former reputation. Despite efforts to introduce new official names, these historical appellations continue to dominate local discourse.
And major activities ahead of the 2025 Youth Day have been highlighted by the National Youth Council. And activities will include Cameroon Youth Dialogue Platform or Platform Awards, amongst others. Beatrice in Camo.
Young people aged between 15 to 35 years represent more than 60% of the population here in Cameroon. The driving force behind innovation, social and economic transformation, unemployment still a major challenge affecting these youths, exposing them to social scourges, juvenile delinquency and drug addiction. But through their resilience, creativity and resourcefulness, the National Youth Council has in place 3 projects to foster national dialogue and civic education. The first, the Cameroon Youth Dialogue Platform, to run from January 28 to 30th for youths at home and abroad.
This groundbreaking initiative will address pressing issues such as unemployment, gender inequality, educational gaps, healthcare deficiencies, and the digital divide.
It is also a forum for living together in order to consolidate peace, national unity, among others. Added to this is the Platform Award, choosing the best in different categories.
Mobilize all the various actors that are really working together hand in glove, representing Cameroonian youth in the various domains.
And finally, the Youth Camp 2025. This will gather some 2,000 youths across Cameroon for a formative experience.
It will include workshops, hand-on activities, and networking opportunities designed to equip participants with practical skills and knowledge.
The president of the National Youth Council, Fadimatu Iyawa Usmanu, gave the details during a press conference in Yaoundé.
And we move over to Dimako in the east region of the country, where precisely along the Sow River, where life revolves around fishing. And as far as they cast the net, it is a difficult challenge for these fishermen as they have to confront with the cold night. And Morindi says this is a challenging job for the fishermen.
On the road to a fisherman's camp, this path leads us to Zou, a river flowing from Long Timbe in the east region of Cameroon. The daily life of these fishermen is centered around fishing, nutrition, and drying the catch. It's an artisanal fishing method using hooks, nets, and even dams. Early Monday morning, we followed Leonard, a fisherman from the camp. In this makeshift shelter, his fish make up the breakfast meal, while the men prepare some women dry catfish and other types of fish brought up from the water over a gentle fire. When we go for fishing, we supply mostly in the evening. We engage again the next morning, and the activity continues. In the heart of this Dimako forest, all communities come together by the water's edge. These are medium sizes. If you come tomorrow, you'll find bigger ones. We even use machetes. But what I have right now is still breathing life. The nights in this camp are marked by an adrenaline rush from the cold. While heating the firewood doesn't solve it entirely, the atmosphere here leaves a lasting impression on the new campus.
And we move over to the northwest region, precisely in Bafut, where a new pastor has taken over service at the Presbyterian Church in Chom, Bafut, in the northwest region of the country. 39-year-old Amar Ro was inducted by the Presbytery Secretary. Details with our northwest correspondent, Annie Collins.
Over 6 months after his transfer to Nchum Parish of the Bafut Presbytery of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, Rev Amar Ro has been inducted into service. The 39-year-old man of God was commissioned by the Presbytery Secretary for Bafut on Sunday, January 19, accompanied by a college of pastors with some recommendations.
He's a very illustrious son, a very dependable pastor, hardworking and committed. And if I have any recommendation for him, is to tell him to keep his faith and never to be discouraged in anything he does. We are living in challenging times, but it is not impossible to do the work of God.
This congregation and parish suffered a crisis which disrupted the congregation, the Christian, and even the community in which we happen to belong.
Rev Amar Ro is taking over the parish at a time Christians and the parish chairperson are mending fences for unity for the progress of God's work after some turbulent moments.
What the intention of the church was is actually bearing fruits because the community is now living in peace and unity despite the few grievances that people may have in mind.
He will be accumulating as coordinator for lay training and evangelism. The ceremony was also attended by representatives of other congregations of the parish, traditional institutions, and the Bochiranja group of the Reverend Pastor's native Ngwo village in Jikwa subdivision of the Northwest region.
Thanks very much, Annie Collins, Annie from Bamenda. And that draws the curtain for this edition of the 6:15 with me, Kejan Henry Atimbe. Thanking you for being there with us. Coming up is the brief, the actuality, all the way from our studios in Yaoundé. Good day.